Diana Taurasi promptly went out today and scored 3 points, and she got benched. That's right, she did not start the game.
Did Team USA make a huge mistake? Or was benching Griner and Taurasi a genius move? The gold medal game had fans scratching their heads and critics sharpening their knives, but there's more to this story than just one game. We're diving into what this means for these legends, Team USA, and the future of women's basketball. You won't believe what happened next. Diana Taurasi is someone we should discuss. Since she has been unstoppable on court for so long and has won gold at the Olympics 6 times, everyone knows her as the greatest of all time. Nevertheless, Tokyo was off. Taurasi scored 0 points in the games that preceded the final, and the fouls. There were 5 of them in only 2 games. We don't usually see that, Taurus. Online discourse erupted when Diana watched the gold medal game from the bench. As a result, every single person on Twitter had an opinion. In a nutshell, Caitlin Clark should have been there instead. I'm sorry, for a legendary figure like Taurasi, that must hurt. The thing with Diana, though, is that her sense of humor is irrepressible. She made a joke after the game to lighten the mood, as her 0 points were the talk of the town. It's funny because we scored the same amount of points today, she added, referring to her and Sue Bird's identically scoreless performance in the final. Everyone loves a player who can make fun of themselves, can't they? Moving on, let's discuss Brittney Griner. Despite her dominance on the court, she had very little opportunity to showcase it during the gold medal game. Just 5 minutes to play. Half a basketball game is less than that. Imagine owning a Ferrari but never taking it anywhere outside your neighborhood. People were talking, but it wasn't only because of the limited playing time. At the medal ceremony, Griner's emotions were on full display. She's so distraught that she's crying. Oh, I see why she's upset. They just won some gold. However, it wasn't as easy as that. Why she was so distraught after winning was a mystery to some of her admirers. Some people immediately brought up her history of standing during the national anthem to protest. We got it covered. During the most important game of their lives, 2 of the greatest players in basketball were essentially benched. The Taurus, who surprisingly slumped and spent time on the bench. Griner, who nearly scored but instead choked up in the midst of a moment of glory. I know what you're thinking. How do you recover from that? What does it mean to transition from center stage to the bench? What comes next? Even more crucially, we are not talking about any ordinary players here. The game's icons and legends are these people. This is the greatest task they have ever faced. Here we have something new. It's not about that one emotional moment or poor game. Their role in history in the sport they have controlled for decades are at the heart of this. Brittney Griner may be expected to take it easy after the gold medal game, but no, she made a strong return. She sharply retaliated on social media, telling her detractors, some love to see it, some hate to see it, but you all see it. Oh my, Griner is unwavering in her stance. However, let us be honest for a moment. This goes beyond a single game or a single medal. Griner has been through everything. Do you recall the nearly year she spent behind bars in Russia? An experience like that can transform a person. Basketball is simply one of many topics now. It's about resiliency, liberation, and living life to the fullest. Put it in your mind. You could be a world-class athlete 1 second and a prisoner the next. It's bound to cause mental confusion, isn't it? And then you have to go back and deal with all that criticism, climbing Everest, and then having people say you weren't fast enough is like that. But now things start to improve. Diana Taurasi, who was on Griner's team and served as a bench warmer in that last game, is completely behind Griner. Taurasi made a spine-tingling statement when Griner returned to the court following her trauma. Just to see her smile was emotional for everyone. That's the love of family, not simply of teammates. Sure, but how about the game? You may be asking, wasn't it just a scrap for Team USA? You would be correct. That victory against France, 67-66? It's almost there. It was almost there. You could practically hear the French fans on the opposite side of the world holding their breath because it was so close. Was it simply a bad day for Griner and Taurasi? And was it just one squad that had trouble? That is the question that everyone is asking, for the simple reason that Team USA is accustomed to being unbeatable. They're accustomed to destroying opposing squads. Yet this instance, everything was different this time. Perhaps the strain was to blame. Perhaps the unusual atmosphere of a pandemic performance contributed. On the other hand, perhaps everyone else is starting to catch up. People can't stop talking about it. As a result, many are starting to question whether Team USA's dominance is coming to an end. However, Griner and Taurasi are exceptions. When things go rough, they don't simply give up. They still have it in them to fight. Even when they're down, they have the grit to get back up. In the most important game of the year, they were benched. So yeah. Yes, there is a lot of discussion, yet guess what? That will just make things worse. This isn't a game for these ladies. Icons indeed. They exemplify the type of athletes that young people aspire to emulate. What comes next? They had just encountered their greatest professional obstacle. Showing they can still play isn't the only thing that matters. Being resilient is something that needs to be demonstrated to the world. Now let's discuss the 2024 Paris Olympics. As soon as the Olympic torch was lit in Tokyo, Brittney Griner and Taurasi were subject to intense scrutiny. These two aren't merely competing for the chance to win a medal. Their legacies are at stake in this conflict. Put it in your mind. When it comes to women's basketball, Griner is a top center. End of story, because she is so good on both sides of the court, she changes the game. But following the events in Tokyo, many are seeking clarification. Will Team USA be able to bench her once more? In regards to Griner, here's the thing. Tall is simply one of her many attributes. She's quite good. Defenders look foolish when she uses her moves. What about defense? She swatted shots like flies, acting like a human eraser. However, her performance on the court is only one aspect. It all comes down to her representation. Griner has persevered through unimaginable adversity. Resilience of that kind, that is not something you can instruct on. How does Team USA choose its members? That's a good question. People are starting to ponder if a change is necessary after Tokyo. Has the tried and true method yielded any results lately? On the other hand, is something changing? People are expressing the opinion that, hey, maybe we need some fresh blood. Some others say, hold up, you can't just toss aside players who've been winning gold for years. The decision is not easy. Griner and Taurasi are two examples of players that have experience in this area. When it matters most, they know how to win. Conversely though, a new crop of ballers is on the rise. They have talent, they're eager, and they want to show the world what they can do. Then what will Team USA do? Rely on what has worked in the past, or take a chance on someone fresh? It's more than merely selecting top performers. It's about assembling a cohesive squad that can manage the immense strain of playing on the greatest platform in the world. Remember that the rest of the globe is also moving at a rapid pace. Competitors are making more rapid, significant, and formidable gains. They had no intention of wasting time getting that gold. We can't afford for Team USA to get complacent. For them to perform at their highest level, they must assemble the strongest possible team. Let us now discuss pressure. Taurasi and Griner, it is affecting them a huge deal. They're vying for more than simply a roster position. They want to show the world that they aren't done yet, that they're not old. Everything counts, from games to practices to drills. Their experience should be seen as an asset, not a problem, and they should prove that they can still hold their own against the younger players. Let me tell you something shocking though. Both of these, pressure is one of their strengths. This is what they've done for the entirety of their careers. They really come into their own when the pressure is on. Well, it's official. The heat is on. Rely on them not to be written off just yet. You may be asking, are they actually capable of doing it? Does this mean that Griner and Taurasi can get back on the court? I mean, isn't that the million-dollar question? You won't find two better players than these two. The most important thing is that they have that fire in their bellies, along with the talents and expertise. However, let's not sugarcoat it. In sports, there is no sure certainty. It just takes one slip-up or injury to throw everything into disarray. It's thrilling because of that. We can't help but be captivated by that. The stage is now set for an incredible comeback narrative as we anticipate Paris 2024. Two-game legends Griner and Taurasi are battling it out to see who can prove they're still the best. The youthful guns hot on their tails, prepared to supplant them. As the rest of the globe improves, Team USA tries to find a balance between seasoned players and up-and-coming stars.